up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and you're tapped into Oh Have Y'all Seen? And in this video, we're going to be discussing the final part 3 of Escaping Twin Flames, which is Netflix's newest documentary. So let's get into it. All right, y'all. So part 3 opens up, and the title of it is called Up in Flames. We see Louise and Paula going to, I think, this place called Sedona Creative Life Center in Arizona. They're hoping to see Stephanie there because we find out that Jeff and Shalia are having a 2-day workshop for the Twin Flames universe. It's been 3 years since they've seen Stephanie, because remember, Paula sent Stephanie a email in August of 2020, and Stephanie sent her a rejection email, and after that they cut all communication with her. So Stephanie and Louise are just hoping to see her. They supposedly, I guess, so the twins, I guess, are 30 or 31, but Paula was like, we didn't get to experience our 30th birthday together. So she had a birthday card, and then Louise brought a stuffed animal that I guess was Stephanie's favorite toy. And so she was just like, I'm hoping if she sees this, she knows that we still love her and still want her to be a part of our lives. So they get to the Creative Life Center, but Stephanie wasn't there. They saw all the types of I guess they have a way to look at the pictures that they post in the Facebook group, but they looked at the pictures and they didn't see Stephanie in any of the lineup, as well as when Paula went to where I guess the Twin Flames were holding their workshop, there was security there. So Louise was saying how her husband is worried about her confronting Jeff and Shalia, because now Jeff is kind of showing that he could possibly have violent tendencies. He's posting pictures of him shooting guns and things of that nature. And Louise's husband is like, he knows that she about it. Like, Louise is ready to stand on business because she's like, I haven't spoken to my daughter in 3 years. You've taken everything from me. So at this point, it is what it is and what it's going to be. I'm standing on business. And I don't fault the lady. So we find out that, with that whole Twin Flame summoning thing that Shalia and Jeff did, that Stephanie was part of those 20 couples that they said were now twin flames. So in him and Shalia assigning people to be twin flames, Stephanie is assigned to a girl named Kieran. Kieran was signed as divine masculine. The Paula and Louise find out that Stephanie is moving to Switzerland to be with Kieran. Like, they saw her post a picture of her on a plane, and then we see her touch down in Switzerland, and her and Kieran are now supposed to be a couple. They actually get married on YouTube, but even when you see them like do the wedding ceremony on YouTube, when Stephanie and Kieran kiss, it's weird. Like, and that's not me saying there's anything wrong with like a lesbian relationship or like a trans relationship or any relationship of that matter. It's just the way that they kiss, you can tell it's uncomfortable for them. Like, they pecked, and it was like, girl, if we're getting married on Zoom or not, I'm gonna give my man or the person that I'm about to marry like a passionate kiss. Like, it was none of that. And like Paula said, you can tell that it seems like these are just arrangements. So then in the episode, in this part 3, they just start showing clips of all these arranged couples, the now 20 twin flame couples that they have assigned to be together. So the episode then shifts back to where part 2 ended, where we see Kaylee speaking about how she had to contact Angie and Victoria to let them know that they were also a part of those 20 pairs, and that Angie was the divine masculine, and Victoria was the divine feminine. When I tell you I am so sick of the term divine feminine and divine masculine, it already irritated me, but after watching this documentary, that crap gives me the ick. If anybody ever uses divine masculine or divine feminine in casual conversation with me, I will tell you STFU so quickly. Like, ugh. So Keely gets on the Zoom call with them, and Victoria gets on, and Angie is like is on there with her, and Keely asks Victoria, do you know why you're here? Do you know what I'm about to tell you? And Victoria is like, you're about to tell me that Angie is my twin flame, and she's like the divine masculine and I'm divine feminine. And Keely's like, yes. And Victoria, she asked Victoria, well, how do you feel about that? And she was like, I don't agree with that. And Victoria's like, well, Keely was like looking at me kind of like, what do you mean you don't agree with it? And Victoria's like, well, I'm not a lesbian. And Keely was like, yeah, you're not a lesbian, but like she's still your twin flame. And it was in that conversation that Victoria basically was like, my goodness, like how much power have I truly given these people? Like, how much power have I really given these people? And so she decides, like, yeah, bro, this ain't for me no more. And she leaves. Like, she's like, this group is no longer where I need to be because I'm not a lesbian. I'm not going to be a part of this. So she left the group. Angie stayed and like hunkered down and tried to really commit to changing her life to fit the whole divine masculine thing. We then again see Jessie again, and Jessie is like, she's also in one of the 20 pairings that Shalia and Jeff had told them that they're in, and now they're telling her that she is the divine masculine in her relationship. And she's confused because she's like, I've never been the type of person to like question what's in my body. Like I'm okay with being a woman. Like I know I'm right. But she said because she was questioning it, her and Angie was a part of it too, were put in this healing group where all the people that were said to be divine masculine were now forced to be in this group where they could unblock this block of not accepting being a part of this. They, in that healing group, they had these people changing forcing them to change their pronouns from she and her to he and his. Keely is talking about these groups and she's breaking down because she's realizing that like what I was doing was abusive, but at the time it didn't feel that way. It felt like I was doing the right thing. And she also was like, I was scared if I didn't do these things, I was also going to get kicked out of the group. But she also realized that these ladies didn't have a choice, that like they had to morph into whatever the group wanted them to be because they honestly didn't have anything else. You then have Angie having to like pick a name. She was in a group with Keely and Keely pressured her to pick a name called Asim. I don't think I'm saying that name right, but it was a name that like a nickname that her family called her, and she was really Angie was really like ashamed and hurt by the fact that she allowed that name that her family called her that was meant to be loving and endearing to be used to like abuse her. So that was a very hard thing for her to take in. So the next part of the discussion we're going to talk about is the trans community. So if I misgender anybody, I apologize in advance. I ain't trying to disrespect no one. So we see Louise head to New Jersey, and she's meeting up with these two moms that she met through Reddit. Paula found a Reddit thread of people talking about the Twin Flames universe. And, you know, Louise gives the energy that she stand on business and nothing else and nothing less. And so she's in them comments saying like, girl, this is a multi-level marketing scheme and y'all need to wake up. I said, come on, Louise, call it out, girl. Call it all the way out. So we get introduced to Debbie and Maxine. Debbie and Maxine's daughters in the beginning became a part of the Twin Flame universe. They went into the Twin Flames universe as women, as cis heterosexual women. While they were in the Twin Flames universe, they were told that they were a part of those 20 pairings, and that they were both of their daughters were the divine masculine in their relationships. So Maxine's daughter transitioned to Isaiah, and Debbie's daughter transitioned into Ray. So they focused in on Maxine. Maxine hasn't spoken to her child in 4 years. Debbie hasn't spoken to hers in 3. So pretty much, Maxine said her daughter came home from college, but was always on her computer and laptop, would just go to the basement and be on the computer and laptop for hours. Her daughter then joined Twin Flames in 2018, and while she was in there for 2 months, she then, came out to her family and told them that she was a trans man and that she was the divine masculine, and now she will be transitioning into Isaiah. So Maxine's child now told her family, like, hey, refer to me with he, him pronouns. So now Maxine's daughter goes by Isaiah. So Maxine is taken aback because she's like, I never would have thought my child was trans or any of that. But once Isaiah came out to their family, Isaiah pretty much left. Like, Isaiah was like, I am a man, I'm leaving. We find out that Isaiah was paired with a trans woman named Sage. So Isaiah left and went to go live with Sage. Only gave their family like five hours to like deal with all of this, and they were begging Isaiah not to go. But Isaiah said, this is who I'm supposed to be with. This is who I'm going to get closer to. This is my twin flame. This is how I'm supposed to maneuver life now as a man, as Isaiah. The same thing pretty much happened with Debbie's family and daughter. Debbie's daughter came out after being a part of the Twin Flames universe for a while and told their family, like, hey, I want to go by Ray or Raymond. And Debbie's response to it wasn't the best. Debbie was like, are you truly a man? Basically told Ray, like, you need to leave my house. Like, this is too much. You got to go. And unfortunately, with that response, it alienated Debbie from Ray, and Ray no longer wanted to have a relationship with Debbie. And Ray decided that the pairing that they were with is who they wanted to be with. So Ray left and went to also go be with their twin flame. We then have a scene of Dr. Cassius, who, his face is so, like, he looks so confused looking at the Zoom footage and the YouTube videos, and he looks so appalled. But Dr. Cassius pretty much says that people who are part of Twin Flame could actually be trans, but the way in which this information is being spread is very detrimental to the trans community. And he said, if you listen to what they're saying, most people who are trans normally make statements about, like, I want to get closer to who I am. I want to mirror what I feel inside on the outside. Like they already kind of know who they are. Like the rest of us who aren't trans, it's like, I know, like for me, like I know I'm a cis heterosexual woman. Like there's no way you can convince me that I am supposed to be a trans man or I am non-binary. But people who are trans or who are non-binary, they have the same convictions as those who are heterosexual and cis. And pretty much Dr. Cassius was saying how, like, the statements that they are making is kind of giving that they, like, you're not supposed to make statements like, I want to transition to who I'm supposed to be. Like, you're not supposed to be anything other than yourself. And so he was picking up on that the rhetoric that's being spewed in the Twin Flames universe is very dangerous, especially to the trans community. And a lot of the ex-members who were in the documentary were saying that it was giving conversion therapy. They show a clip of Jeff basically saying that I understand that a lot of women who are now finding out that they are the divine masculine, but they don't have like a penis, they need to understand that their vagina is an illusion. And I was like, what? what? It just, it's crazy. So now with Jeff and Shalia telling people that they're divine masculine or divine feminine, and how they're pushing people to now be trans men or really dive deep into their masculinity, people are starting to question themselves. So again, remember, Angie is supposed to be the divine masculine, and so is Jesse. Well, Angie was Jesse's coach, and they were both struggling with this new revelation that was thrusted upon them. So Jesse decides, you know what? I'm going to go all in. I'm going to come out to my mom. And Jesse's mom honestly had the perfect response. I wish she could have given that to everybody's mama who these people came out to. But Jesse's mom is like, do you feel this honestly, or do you feel like this is what they want you to be? And Jesse's response was that, it's like, I knew you were going to say that because you think I'm in a cult. And Jesse's mom responded with like, I don't think you're in anything. I just want to support my child, but I want you to be clear. And so Jesse ends up saying, no, I think they want me to be this. And so then her mom is like, do you want to leave this organization? And Jesse is like, she's like, I don't know. Like, I don't really know. So then Jessie, I guess, sat down with her mom after her mom hugs her, and she decides to leave. And you know, Jessie was standing on business because the first person that Jessie blocked was Jeff. Like, it wasn't the coaches or anybody. She went up into her Facebook or wherever they was having these communications, and Jessie said, "Yeah, I'm cutting the head off. I'm going to the head of the snake." And I'm cutting it off. So she blocked everybody. And she said it was hard because she was like, it was like blocking friends, but I had to get out. So people are starting to wake up. Like, people are starting to feel like this is dark. This ain't right. Like, y'all are really messing with people's heads. Like, I don't want any parts of this. And I was like, my goodness. But then it got worse. The documentary got worse, and it got weird, and it got really disgusting. It was already weird and disgusting and disrespectful, but then it got very weird and very dark-sided because they start bringing up the third twin flame, aka Baby Grace. And this information is introduced to us by Shanice. And Shanice ends up explaining to us that Jeff and Shalia would often talk about how they were special because they had a third twin flame. And that third twin flame was their baby Grace, who was in the astral world that would give them like astral projections or something, some stupid stuff where Shalia would tell them like, yeah, her name's like, she told us her name is going to be Grace. We decided to do embryo like, you know, IVF, so we can pick the type, like, we want a girl, that's what she wants to be. She already picked her body, like real crazy stuff. And then the part that I got disgusted by is when they were talking about the child's sexuality, saying that the baby wouldn't need to have sex because they could have sex with God in the astral world. And mind you, didn't Shalia say that Jeff is the image of Christ, as well as Jeff is telling people, how dare you question your God? I said, this is weird and disgusting. Then they started to use Baby Grace as like an abuse and a punishment tool, where if people didn't do what Shalia or Jeff wanted when she was pregnant with Baby Grace, they would say, well, you're killing Shalia. Well, and they were posting up the Baby Grace as like their new messiah, saying this was going to be one of the most evolved and intelligent children in this world. So why would you want to harm that? It got weird. And I said, 911, where are the police? Somebody called the feds. Call the CIA. Call somebody. But then in March of 2022, Shalia and Jeff had to terminate the pregnancy because it was ectopic. So then they said that basically Grace decided she didn't want to come to this world. She wanted to stay in the astral realm. And while they're talking about this, Jeff is basically telling Shalia that no, the doctor didn't say that we needed to terminate the pregnancy. But you could tell that Shalia was irritated, basically saying, how are you going to tell me what the doctor said? This is what the doctor told me, and what are you talking about? And so Jeff had to be quiet. They then it then gets even worse, because I didn't even think it could get worse. We find out that Jeff and Shalia are now in Michigan looking to purchase a 300 like a 300 like room event hall center or something like that, where they're going to basically build a compound in Michigan, because Jeff feels that's his divine birthright to have this compound. They then are going to be able to tell people who they can have sex with and who they can procreate with, because now they want to create golden children. And then those golden children will then be able to become twin flames of each other. I said, this is some weird ass shit. That is some dark, dark, dark stuff. And I need the authorities to get involved. So then people are expecting, like, oh, we're going to have sperm donors, because a lot of the couples are same-sex couples. And they were thinking, like, oh, we get to pick who we want to be, like, our sperm donor. No, Jeff is the one that's picking who these people can procreate with. And the only way that you can procreate is if you make $10,000 a month in the organization. Well, Kaylee was making that much money, but she was like, when she would implement them in, I guess, this massive spreadsheet that they had, she was fudging her numbers. She was lying about it, and she said nobody ever really questioned it. So once she got away with that, she started to rebel and realize something about all of this ain't right. We then have Jeff telling the people to watch the Seduce and The Vow. I've seen a documentary about Seduce, which is about the cult called Nexum that had that girl that was on, that actor from Smallville, that show about Superman. She was a part of that. Like, she was one of the head people in that cult. She in jail right now. But I remember that, and he made them watch these cult documentaries and basically explained to him why he wasn't a cult leader, but it had the opposite effect. So then he forced everybody to get on basically a 24-hour healing Zoom call to get everyone to admit that he was not a cult leader. At the point where you're getting people to watch cult documentaries so that you can have evidence of them saying that you're not a cult leader, and that you're not following these practices, and it in turns makes people realize that no, this is what this is, you're a dummy, and these people need to run. These people need to run, because this is how you know Jeff is aware, and Shalia, because Shalia is culpable in this too, that what they are doing is wrong to people. Because why are you having people watch cult documentaries so you can prove to them that you're not a cult leader? And it's doing the reverse effect, where these people are like, nah, bruh, I think I'm in a cult. And then you're forcing them to get on a 24-hour Zoom call to force them to admit to you that no, you're not one. Where Keely basically says that, like, she couldn't leave the room until she admitted that she didn't think Jeff was a cult leader. Girl, what? So Kaylee's eyes are open, and she's like, you know what? We're in a cult. So she tells Kobe. Kobe at first, I don't think, was trying to hear her, but then eventually he agreed. And the only thing that they could agree upon was like, yo, we need to go get Marley from that schizophrenic drug addict man that's 11 years older than her. We got to go get her. So they go to Utah to go get Marley. Marley is like confused. She's discombobulated. She's surprised to see her sister. And they're like, you got to leave. We got to leave. And so Marley is angry. She's overwhelmed and she's frustrated, because she's like, for the past 3 years, I've been living in this like traumatic situation with this man, and I didn't have to. And remember, Marley got into this community, like this cult, when she was 18 years old. Now she's 21, and she's like, what the hell? And so Marley said while they were on their way back home, Keely and Kobe kept fighting. Keely kept having panic attacks, and now, unfortunately, they don't have a relationship anymore. Keely was like, Marley says that Keely triggers her. And like right now, they're both in this place where they're trying to heal from the what they experienced in the cult as well as what they did to each other. More so on Keely's side, that like she's struggling. Like Keely wants to have a relationship with her sister, but she also understands that like they both need to heal. So Angie finds out that Keely's leaving, and she don't really care because she was like, me and her weren't friends like that, and I kind of had issues with her. And because Keely was Angie's coach. So Keely ends up become not Keely, Angie ends up becoming friends with Shanice. And Shanice is like starting to connect the dots that something about Twin Flames isn't right. Like something about the Twin Flames universe isn't right. But Angie really likes Shanice and they like really good friends. So Shanice is on the like she's seeing things. She's seeing Jeff and Shalia posting bags. Like Shalia is posting bags of like Louis Vuitton bags, Prada bags. They're at the Gucci store. They buying new houses. Like she's like, okay, Shanice like, we're all struggling, but y'all is living high, like y'all got money, like we're like, what's not, things are not adding up because we're bringing in a lot of money, but we're all struggling. So then Angie lets us know that Jeff and Shalia decided, well, now for all the people that are coaches, they want 50% of your earnings. And Angie's like, I cannot live off of 50% of my earnings. And Angie was already questioning the group because even though she was trying to lean in really hard into this divine masculine stuff, it just wasn't resonating with her. We end up seeing her watch herself in a Zoom meeting where she's saying all the right things, making people smile. And Angie's like, that's a person who knows how to say the right things, but does not believe none of the things that are coming out of their mouth. So Shanice finally says, you know what? I can't be in this anymore. Like, we're getting scammed. This isn't right. I can't do this anymore. So she calls Angie. Shanice is breaking down on the phone because she realizes that she was like, girl, this might be the last time I talk to you, and you're you're a good friend, but I can't do this anymore. She's like, what are we really losing? Like think about it. We have nothing outside of TFU. Like we're not close to our families. We don't have any friends. Like the TFU is all we have. That's not right. And so Shanice says, you know what? I'm done. And then after Shanice leaves, so does Angie. I guess they leave around in the same year, where Angie starts to realize, yeah, this isn't right either. And so she gets on the phone with her coaches and she's like, I no longer want to be a part of this. And they're like, why not? And she just is like, because I don't want to. And she logs off. So I think the money situation also started to wake people up a lot more. Like you have people working 10 and 12 hours a day, but you're taking 50% of your income. And Angie always said that Shalia would always make statements in their meetings about like, I deserve to rest. And Angie was like, she was never doing anything. She was always resting. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about? So they end up showing a clip of how slimy Shalia, Jeff, and Chrissy, that the lady that was running that map of crap, are, where Jeff brings up this lady who lives in like a third world country that's living in her mom's basement with her son on a mattress, that gave Jeff and Shalia $4K in cash because Jeff was like, that excuse that they keep using about they don't got no money. Well, he was like, this bitch gave me $4K. And I'm like, this lady is living in her mom's basement. She's sleeping on the floor in a mattress, and she has a son, and you are okay. You are okay with her giving you $4K because you know how badly you have manipulated that person to give you that money. Slimy people. Slimy people. So then we go back to Maxine because we start getting more information about Isaiah. We find out that Isaiah is I think almost fully transitioned into a trans man, where we see Isaiah with Sage, and it was posted online because I guess they have like a YouTube channel that Isaiah got top surgery, and Maxine knew nothing about it, and she was shocked. And now, if you don't know, top surgery is just getting a mastectomy. So Maxine is like, it's not even about the top surgery. She's like, that is very like life changing, life altering surgery. And what if my child died on the table? I would have never known because we're not in communication. And we find out that Isaiah and one other person are two people in the organization that have gotten top surgery. We then see that Debbie got a text from Ray. And mind you, remember, it's been almost 3 years since Ray and Debbie had communication. And Ray's text is Debbie saying that, like, hey, I'm in a relationship that I no longer want to be a part of. Debbie is freaking out because she can't believe that her child reached out to her. And, like, she doesn't want to mess it up, and she's trying her best not to mess up the pronouns, but like she is just so like in a state of shock and panic that her child reached out to her. So she texts her daughter, well, not her daughter, but her son. She texts her son like, hey, like, I'm open to any communication you give me. And so Ray texts back, and it seemed like Ray wants to leave the organization, and I hope Ray does. Because even if Ray is really a trans man, that is not an organization that they need to be in no matter what. Like that over there is toxic. So the documentary is winding down to the end, and we end up seeing Keely meet up with Dr. Janice. Dr. Janice was the doctor that deals in psychology. And pretty much she saw Keely make an IG video about Twin Flames Universe and how Keely is really like passionate about getting people out of the organization. Well, Keely and Dr. Janice meet up, and Keely's whole thing is like, I want to stop this organization before they get this compound in Michigan. So the compound, like I said before, earlier in the video, it's supposed to have, I think it's supposed to be built on like 300 acres of land, and all of the members are supposed to move to Michigan to live on a farm to help build this compound. And then Jeff and Shalia are supposed to be able to dictate who gets to have kids, but whoever comes to stay on the compound has to have kids so they can create the golden children. Shenanigans and weirdo mess. So Dr. Janice talks to Keely about moral injury, where she can tell that Keely is still battling the things that she did. Like, she still is ashamed, she still is angry at herself, and she hasn't forgiven herself. And Dr. Janice is pretty much explaining to her that you need to forgive yourself so you can move on. And so she ends up meeting up with Angie. Keely immediately apologizes to Angie. Angie says, you know what? I don't want to be angry no more. I don't want to hold on to that. She actually accepts Keely's apology and says that, you know what? I did things that I'm not proud of either. Like, when I left the organization, my dad died, and I blame myself for that, thinking that because I left the organization, he died and God was punishing me. And so they both embrace each other and pretty much tell each other to let go of what they did so that they can move forward. So the last part of the final part of this part 3 or this whole entire series is we see a Zoom call between Dr. Janice and the ladies and the moms, and pretty much Paula is on there too, and pretty much they're like, okay, they're now like feeling very convicted to now really push the envelope forward to like blow the cap off of Twin Flames University. And Dr. Janice made a comment that people who are very like deep into the Twin Flames universe, something really crazy or really like life-changing would have to happen for them to leave. And so that is what they're trying to figure out, what to do in order to get those people out. We then start doing like flashbacks to all the people that have been talking to us about their experiences in the Twin Flames universe. And most of them seem to have left the community in 2019, in 2020, and 2021. And we get an update on 3 people. We found out that Marley is in school and doing a lot better. Ellie is doing her music. She was like DJing at a party in Miami called Love Burn. And then Keely seems to really be struggling, but she has hope. She wants to go to law school. She realizes that, like, now she's alone. She doesn't have any money, but the one thing she does have is control over her mind. And with that, she feels like she can move forward with her life. So that's how it ended. So what I will say is I do hope that those who are in this organization will definitely see this documentary and it will take off the rose-colored glasses, because I genuinely believe if they get that compound in Michigan, it's going to be some Jonesboro type mess. Anytime somebody thinks that they have authority over who you sleep with and who you procreate with, and who thinks that they can determine who you are supposed to be in love with, that is some egomaniac type. Like that's some evil. That leads to a dark and scary place. So I'm hoping they stop them before they get that compound. But hey, if you have made it to the end of this part 3, thank you for listening. Thank you for clicking on the video. And as always, remember to be bravely authentic and drop down in them comments below.